Hey everyone, and welcome back to another week of locals. I wanted to get this out because it is a very fun deck profile. I think I had a lot of fun. Vivi actually got huge buffs, I think, with the law. I think it was just red and blue in general got really favored in Premium Booster 2, right? Those colors got insane support with the new law that is very hard to remove, and the 4-cost Marco, right, being an insane card in general. So very fun to have a deck that plays both of them, right? But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and if you like the playmat that I'm using in the video, you can check out Nengard and use my code for 8% off, code StrawHatPecan. I don't know how long the code's going to be at 8% for, so check that out. You can use that on top of their other discounts. On top of that, they have a bunch of new mats all the time. I've also got a TCG player affiliate link if you're going to be buying any cards, and I made a Twitter recently at StrawHatPecan. But also, before we get into it, make sure to just be nice to the opponents, everybody, right? It's just locals at the end of the day. Just playing some fun off-meta stuff as we typically do at locals and having a good time. And we did pretty good with Vivi, so that was actually really exciting to see. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about Premium Booster 2 a bit, you know, some of the wins and losses of it. But yeah, I guess you could say, you know, being a little hype about the new Vivi leader, that actually seems like pretty good, right? I think a lot of people have been talking about that, but we're going second against Blackbeard on our first matchup. We went second, nothing happened turn 1 and 2. We just drew an extra card with our leader ability on to Dawn. Of course, we'll have the deck profile at the end, right? But as you can see from the hand, we've got a really good start. We've got a couple of Shiraya, the Rush Shanks, yeah, and the KO Shanks as well. Just having big bodies is good, you know. They can, of course, if they're playing the removal build, it can be a little bit tricky to remove a 10 cost sometimes, but, you know, we'll see. The Rush Shanks, though, and the Cavendish is super good, right? However, he's got the Luffy out, and we don't have a good answer to that to rush in. But yeah, Cavendish, super good. Just get infinite cards in our hand with Cavendish in this matchup. Well, in any matchup, right? But I think we draw to a second Cavendish, and that's a little bit crazy. Since we are only in 4 Dawn, we just play out the Marco. Because, you know, he might not want to KO it. He might not be able to KO it. And then next turn, we can start swinging out with Cavendish, right? Just infinite hand size to help us out in this matchup, because we do have things in the deck like Super Spot Build Duck Squad to deal with the 1-drop repeated searchers, of course, if you've seen previous Vivi builds, right? Just didn't get any. That happens. That happens. And of course, knowing we won't get on plays towards the end of the game, that 10-12 Shanks is probably just going to be a break. But luckily, because we are going second, right, we'll be able to play that out before he plays out his 10-drop to freeze it. So we could be ahead on big bodies, right? If we play out our 10-cost KO Shanks that does nothing but be a 12k body, right, the next turn we can play our Rush Shanks and then still have a big body to swing over the blocker, right? So we go Cavendish, leader ability to draw a card and gain Rush, swing 6k at the Luffy, draw 2, trash 1. Pitch the other Cavendish, because honestly, look at the hand size we have. We have an insane amount. It's actually hard for me to like hold this many cards. I think we're like 11 in hand, like 9, 10, something like that. It is crazy. But he KOs the Marco actually, and we draw 2 off of that. And then just goes 5 of life. We counter, and we got a second Rush Shanks. But this is actually a pretty pesky board to deal with, you know. Yeah, he could have gotten the Cavendish first to prevent us from drawing again. However, if he can just continuously clear the board, then he doesn't need to worry about our hand as much. He can just control everything, right? And of course, we don't have on play, so we can't use that Ben Beckman. I try to lean more into the red side of things with that new law being able to stick on the board and minus something by 2k for each swing, right? helped out a ton for removal, right? Playing that before a Rayleigh turn or even a KO Shanks turn really can help you clear a lot. Or in just this option, right, we are going just to clear something big. So we end up, I really want to get rid of Laboon. I wanted to get rid of both, but I was debating if I try to swing at both, we might end up not getting anything. So we just go 7 at 3 for the Laboon because we minus the Laboon. And then, yeah, the hand side is actually crazy. So that's, you know, also a benefit if he tries to remove the law, right? We can actually counter out of it. Like if he tries to remove it and then it gets minus power, right? So with all these 2Ks, we can actually defend it. Just trying to stay pretty healthy and keep something on board, and then just spam out big bodies at the end, right? To swing over the blocker, control the board, but he gets the Van Augur so he can KO 6 cost, right? So our Cavendish is gonna go bye-bye. Unless he had a second way to remove, like if he establishes like a Doc Q and like some more minusing stuff, right? Like if he had a second Van Augur and a Doc Q out, then obviously he could get rid of the law because it's a once per turn save. So he plays out the new blocker Shiryu. And my goodness, our hand is crazy, right? It is crazy how the new Shiryu is just hack from Koala, but for Blackbeard. Like it's the exact same card, right? So we go minus on everything with the Rush Shanks, and then we go, I believe, at the Doc Q. And I minus the Doc Q as well. I should have minus the Blackbeard, right? Even though I was like, he can just block, or he just, yeah. You just block or let the Blackbeard go and take it back. But honestly, yeah, I should have, yeah, probably should have gone 7 at 5 against the Blackbeard, right, with the law, and then 12 at him again. He might have counted out against the 7, right, though, is the thing. Because if he has to play the Blackbeard out again, then we're still definitely more ahead, right? Because then you'll only have 3 down left. But he Tempest kicks, minuses our Shanks, so this is going to be pretty rough if we lose the Shanks, which definitely will if he's going to Tempest kick. And then Laboon, yep. So he gets rid of that with just a Tempest kick and a Laboon. Luckily, we have another Shanks, so goes 8 at life, and we counter out 2 and 2 because we're staying very healthy. And we can honestly, like, our resources are still, we have much more in hand size than he does. So we just play out another Rush Shanks. We're going 7 at Laboon minus 2 from the Blackbeard. Okay, so 7 at 4. Right? He uses the counter event to go up. Well, minus our character by 4, right? We go 12 at the Blackbeard. And yeah, I think he just picks that. I think he just picks up another Blackbeard from trash. Even though I think that Blackbeard can just grab himself, right? So it wouldn't even matter which one he grabs, but goes another Tempest and a Laboon. But that is, again, what we say. We're still a little bit ahead because he had to spend his entire turn just playing that back out. And then he goes 6 at lead, and then we give 2K. Still a big hand. So I don't normally shuffle around my hand too much to try to keep it like steady for y'all. But honestly, with so many cards in my hand, it was like getting like annoying trying to like have it all spread out like evenly so y'all could see what cards are in the hand. But I need one of them stand things. I think that would make it a lot easier. But honestly, I don't know if we had the space on the table for that. So we'll probably just have to end up swinging into these bodies. Oh, and shout out, I got the gold Robindon from somebody locals. So that was really cool to pick up. We're going at the Blackbeard character. Going 8 into 6. I believe we minused the character. So 8 into 6. His hand size was pretty low. I think he lets that go and then picks it back up. Right? Yeah, 3 in hand. We're going 7 to Laboon with the 3-cost Sanji. And that goes as well. Nice. And then we just play out another one. So boom. So then even if he removes these 2 bodies, they'll at least replace themselves in the hand, even though our hand size is not the problem here, right? But yeah, that pesky... We don't really have the bottom deck effects, so that 7 cost is just coming right back out. But then again, I think we're winning out on the long game with that. We could just have swung face a lot too, but... If I gave him a time to set up double KO, then nothing would stick, right? Because he'd be able to get rid of the law, right? He goes 6 at the Sanji, and we let it go and draw a card. And then he KOs the other Sanji with the other Shiryu, right? That pops a, I think original 3 cost, right? And then just using stage. But right now his hand size is rather low. So you'll see here in a second, he actually, he picks up the Kuzan and he lets us have on plays because I think he only has like 3 in hand. And honestly, this is probably the best time for you to let us have on plays. You're still pretty healthy. The only thing on your board has already done its job. We got rid of a character. So yeah, here I established the 10 cost KO Shanks. Just have a big body, right? But again, it's not the biggest thing to KO in the world, so it wasn't like that crazy, right? For him to lose like that. Obviously, if he had like a 10 drop to protect, then, you know, well, if he 10 dropped the law, we wouldn't have been able to kill the blocker. But if he had something else to protect, right? He pitches the Kuzan to search with stage, finds a Van Augur. But now if our Shanks doesn't get hit with the 10 drop blocker or removed, then obviously we'll be very far ahead. He just goes 5 of life and we, I think, counter out. Because again, we're very ahead in hand size. We can always draw 2 cards turn. He does play out the blocker, right? So no 10 drop, sad. Here, I think I should have played out the second 10 drop, right? But I believe we go Marco block. I think that when I saw the Marco blocker come up, I was like, yeah, I can go wide here. And I should have maybe just played out the Nami blocker, but I got an extra card off drawing the Marco. And then if he does KO the Marco, we can draw 2, right? And then I play out a chopper blocker to protect if he swings with like the 10 drop into law or something. And removes the Marco, basically to make sure that our law is safe from either being swung into if he removes the Marco first, right? We did have a lot of counter still, but just playing safe and going kind of wide. I think playing out a second 10 drop would have been equally as you know, threatening. Because, like I said, the second we have 2 10 drops on the board, he can only freeze one of them, right? And if we can just keep playing these big bodies, you'll outpace them, you know? Especially if we're able to swing with law. -1 the blocker, so it's easier for us to get over him. plays out the Burgess, but that is a very big Burgess. As you can tell by the deck versus the trash size, it is actually kind of insane, right? Here he's going, I think, 7 at life, or no? Yes, 7. So we go 6 and then give it 2k. I didn't want to block with the Marco in case I needed another swing, because we are kind of in lethal range, right? But then he plays out a Carbu blocker, so second blocker for him. We go 7 at life minus the Blackbeard. And we do have another Cavendish too, which is just so much card draw. Again, so much card draw. Against a matchup where you typically lose out on some aspects of that, like we don't get the Nami blocker effect, right? That when attacking is just so important. So he blocks because he knows if I swing, he just has the Carbu blocker, right? We go 12 at life. And he takes. And then, yeah, we just play out the second 10 drop. Say, okay, well, if you're going to play out another blocker, then I'll still be able to swing 12k. You know, I can also rush out another character, right? So at the very least, we'll have 3 swings from Law, a 10 drop, and whatever we rush out, even if he like manages to get rid of the Marco blocker, right? We would probably have enough swings to get through, possibly. If he plays out like a couple of Carbu or another other blocker, right? Gets rid of the Marco. But then again, if he's going to play out the 10 drop, then we essentially just get another turn, right? Because he wouldn't be able to swing with the other 10 drop if he needs another blocker, right? He's got like an 11k Burgess though, which is very scary. So he goes 11 at life. We block out with the chopper just to clear a spot on our board, honestly. Again, Marco can still swing, being, yeah, then another 10 drop comes out, being a 6k body, pretty good, right? I wish I did get him down to 1 or 0 life. He freezes the Law, right? I do have the Roger as a one-of in the deck, the Goldie Roger. So if we got him down to 0 life, you know, would have probably been pretty good. We go leader ability to give rush to Cavendish and draw a card. We have 4 down left. We go 7 with Cavendish, draw 2, trash 1, pitching a 10 drop, right? So that was our third 10 drop. He got rid of both of the rush, right? So the only other top end would have been the Goldie Roger. He blocks out there with the Caribou. He blocks. He gives a 2k. Then we go 14 at the blocker. The 10 cost teach, just to guarantee we'll be able to get through the next turn, right? If we get rid of one of the blockers, he got rid of the Caribou, that means he'll only have the 1 blocker. If he plays out another 10 drop, that's only 2. We'd have enough swings to get through, right? With the 5 on board, and the hand size to defend, right? We'd have to worry about the Burgess swing. Yeah, the Burgess is actually crazy. Actually crazy how big the Burgess is. But yeah, very grindy matchup. You could put in some more rush options. Back when Blackbeard was more popular, I had, I think, more of the rush shanks in there, the 10 drop rush, which we're still running 2. Essentially, it's like the top end is split between the KO shanks and the rush shanks, but instead of a third copy of the rush, I have in 1 Goldie Roger, right? Because the Law helps us with minusing board if we need to, for KO purposes. He goes 13 at law, and we block and draw 2. Getting another 2k counter. It's crazy. A shout out to this chopper being reprinted in Premium Booster 2, right? Like, this chopper was a pretty expensive rare for a second, which is, man, it always sucks when it's a rare that's like $5. It's like, come on, you know. But it's a good card, so, you know, it makes sense. Here he's going 10 at the law, and we give 2 2Ks, and we go 12 law, and we counter out, and then yeah, it's GG, right? We had just all the counter in our hand, especially after swinging a few times with Cavendish, right? But we just finishing it up here at this point. Very, very good matchup. Very fun time, honestly. The new law, I think, kind of won us this for sure. Just being a body that couldn't stick and is hard for removal to get rid of, right? Like I said, you have to set up a second removal in a turn, which, you know, Blackbeard can do. So that's why I was trying to control board more so than just push at face, which we could have, honestly. We could have, but I didn't want to run the risk of not having anything to swing with. Even, you know, you need buys on board against Blackbeard, right? You need at least a couple of swings. Vivi can rush out pretty much everything. Still, I think we made the right choice about trying to go for board in a lot of times. And the law definitely helps you, right? Getting a free like 2k advantage over your opponent's board every turn was pretty nice. It's just the 7 drop was very pesky, picking things back up from trash, right? But GG, shout out to round 1. So 1-0. Again, the new cards are just super strong with Premium Booster. There definitely was some winners and losers with the new Premium Booster stuff, right? Red and blue were just so strong with it. Green also got some good cards too, you know. But as somebody who wanted Robin to get a buff from the new Boa card, I don't think it was good. I don't think that Boa card is good in Robin. It seems like it's more geared for like the new Bonnie leader coming out. It's just too much in hand size, but that's for another video, I guess. But shout out against round 2 against Purple Kata. Honestly, this was really cool to see this at locals, right? I gotta say, a lot of people play. We see a lot of meta decks at my locals, to be honest. A lot of meta decks, a lot of tier 1s and such. Not saying that Purple Kata is bad, but if, you know, on a like local sense, right? But it's just really cool to see this deck. I like it. We just posted a video on it not too long ago, and yeah, it got a really big buff with that pudding, right? Drawing 2, cheating out another body. Even though it's only a 5k swing, it's still a 5k swing every turn, right? That 7 drop pudding. It's not like you're flooding the board with like 2 9k swings like blue purple does, but still, Purple Kata has access to a lot of great tools and some new good cards. He goes 6 at us, and we take, because we don't have a lot of 2Ks, but now we draw into a 2K, I believe, just there, and then we have the Marco coming in. Yeah, so we got a 2K, and then we got Marco. So just 4-drop Marco coming on passing. Very, very quick, easy turns from my side early game, right? With leader that can't swing. So at least the new Vivi leader can swing, although it's like you can rest her to do the effect. So early game you can still swing, right? If you don't need to give something rush or minus power, right? He goes 6 us, we counter out using the Purple Cat effect, so we're showing him the top card. I've never played against this deck, I think, in person. So it was like, it's always fun doing a new mechanic for the game, right? Like, oh, I gotta like show you the top card of my deck every turn, which led to some very funny bits, right? Like, whenever you're getting like a lucky top deck coming up, and then your opponent sees it coming up, it's just, it adds another layer of just like, oh man, fun times at locals, right? Not a lot of top end though, right? We have the Roger, he plays out the Strucin that can rest the 4-drop essentially, right? Combining with Kata's lead ability. So we show him the card. And then I'm anticipating the Marco getting rested sometime, but maybe not. So I think we might just block out with Marco here. So he's going 7 at us. And we block and draw 2, which honestly, yeah, we were kind of looking for a better turn next turn. He plays out the Chopper. And I'm glad I did, because we get into a Rush Shanks, which is pretty good. We go 7 to life, -2 from the Kid. And we go 7 for Beckman and trash the Kid. And then we have Rush Shanks to follow that up, which is pretty dope. Big hand to defend against. Swings into the Law. Just plays the 8-drop. No pudding. Really does suck when you just don't find the card, right? Because if he was able to just draw 2 extra. Essentially cycling out your hand, right? Playing 2 things and cycling out. But we just play out the KO Shanks, which, like I said, it's funny when something's coming up and your opponent knows because they see the top card of your deck, right? So now our board is looking a little scary. He plays out the Lin. The only target to try and remove for us is the Law. So we just use Law's effect to minus power to protect him, right? He goes 7 our life, looks at the top, we take, and I think we're just going to play out a rush. So we'll go 7, we'll go 7 again, -2 from Big Mom. So he uses the lead ability to go up 1k and then gives a 2k to get out of the 7. So we go 12 and then 12. Getting them down to like 2 life, pretty low. So our board, again, just looking very scary. I know the deck doesn't really run ways to get rid of 10 drops. So that is, you know, it's unfortunate that we were able to remove and establish our big bodies. And, you know, even if he had played out the pudding into the Katakuri, he would still only have the pudding at this point. So we'd only have a 5k swing, which I don't think would have made like a crazy difference, but goes 9 at Beckman and we go 2k or 8k at Beckman because of our Shanks, right? Yeah, I almost forgot why I only counted out with a 2k there. Wouldn't be the first time that I forgot about my own board's power, right? And then we draw into another KO Shanks, which is, I think, the one where he's like, yeah, I knew that was coming up. So we play that out. We get rid of the blocker. We go 7 at life. I probably should have won 7 at life. I was worried that we wouldn't get through them all, but even if Big Mom lived, we still were being healthy enough to been fine there. So, you know, I probably should have poked 7 at life. If he countered out of that and then I couldn't win this turn, then you swing at Big Mom because you still have 2 12k swings. And, you know, our board is kind of insane. I'm not really worried about like not being able to go for the game the following turn, right? Because we have the Roger. So probably should have just went for it that turn, to be honest. But he goes 8 at life and we take. And then he does Parasparrow's effect to cycle out the hand. Because yeah, it looks like he had, I think, a God Thread, so a brick. So just cycling out for a brick. So the Parasparrow's effect, if you're not familiar with, right, you declare a cost of the top card of your opponent's deck. They reveal it. If it matches the declare cost, you get to ramp as an active and then draw a card. So a bit of cycle. But we just play out the Roger and end up winning it. It was a fun match. We had a lot of fun. Shout out to round 2. Shout out to my buddy here. Especially seeing him on Kata. That was really cool to see. But 2-0 and Vivi felt pretty good. You know, again, it's just locals at the end of the day. But yeah, the new support is actually really strong, right? Very good generic cards. We could have put in Kobe, honestly, right? Because on 6 Dawn, you'd be able to draw a card. I think Cavendish is a little bit better because you get the cycle, although the Kobe has counter. But I didn't have that many Kobe, so, you know, that's why, if you're wondering about the Kobe. Even Lucky Ruth, too, would have not been a horrible card because we do run a lot of characters and some bricks, right? So could be not bad to cycle out with that, or like the draw, right? Yeah. But yeah, there was just a lot of good red and blue cards from Premium Booster 2. Shout out against our final round against Blue Purple. Pretty bad matchup, I'm gonna be honest. Pretty rough. I put in like some thought into like the Zoro matchup, right? Just by running like one Happiness Punch was pretty good against him, but yeah, not looking great against a Blue Purple. So we just play out Cavendish, hope it doesn't get God Threaded, and we're just praying, and it doesn't. So we get Bon Clay coming out, because next time we get 2 Cavendish, and we go 1K. Yeah. And then we pitched, so we go 6 at Zoro, draw, and then trash. He goes Bagawa. Oh no, so he takes a hit, but then puts it back because he thought we were going at life. It's all right. It's just locals at the end of the day because we were going to be swinging at life anyway. But you know. We swing in life anyway, and he counters out with that Bagua, but doesn't get the ramp. So he goes Bon Clay at the Sanji, and then he bottom decks our Cavendish. So yeah, we're cooked because he already got super rampy. So now I probably should have left this standing, right? But I didn't want to take a 7K, a 6K, and a 9K next turn because, if you can see, our counter is like not crazy. We would have been able to get out of it, right? So I probably should have, but that would put us really far behind because I wanted to set up the law for some better KO, but we didn't have it anyway. So not that the law helps us KO a 9K. It only would help us KO an 8K, but if we had Ben Beckman, maybe. So yeah, we're just getting rid of 1 body a turn while he's putting out 2. So that is why it's a really rough matchup for us. If we can survive really well, maybe, but even swinging 12K into 9K bodies does not help you clear the board against Luffy. You just have to hope he bricks. The new style of playing like a lot of aggro while having some control with that Mihawk is very pesky to deal with for some decks, Vivi included. So, you know, is what it is. Already kind of was not thinking that there wouldn't be any blue purple, but like kind of, because the deck doesn't see much play in 13. And we're at like a point, like a lot of times in these like secondary sets, like we have to give a bunch of 1Ks to get out of a 9s, which sucks, and also reveals we don't have counter. People start playing like different stuff. I thought more people would be on like Premium Booster 2 decks. Luffy did not get anything from Premium Booster 2 that he needs to play. He could play like Marco and stuff like that, but yeah, like I said, with the defense of this deck. Maybe. And I think I was saying if he ended up like not like if he took that first life, which you know, put him at 2 for right now, we could have played out the Roger, gone down to 0 life here if we could survive, but we have 2k counter in hand, so probably might not. But yeah, if we go down to 0 life, and then he only had 2, and then we have 2 12ks and a 13, we might have a chance. But I think I asked him and he would have been able to get out of a 12k, so that's pretty much, yeah, pretty much it. So yeah, we actually just got destroyed, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, we're playing Vivi at the end of the day. The fact that we were 2-1, that's good in my book. Maybe if we went first, right? Because there is a world where we go first on 3 Dawn. You play out the Sanji, which is a 6k swing on your opponent's turn. And then you go like back to back. 3 Dawn Sanji play, 5 Dawn, you play out a second Sanji, give it rush, swing 2 6ks at face, and then from there on just keep pushing at face, right? Maybe, because I don't think we can ever control the board. And we would have to be extremely healthy, and they would have to be extremely bricked. But like, he ramps very quickly, so he was able to put out Mihawk to bottom deck our stuff very early, right? So at that point, he was just getting too defensive. So yeah, is what it is. Shout out to my opponents. Pretty fun night at locals. It was cool to play with some of the new cards from Premium Booster. Made Vivi a lot stronger. But let's get into the deck profile. All right, yo, listen, I know there's a lot of 2-ofs, but I think it's actually fine for Vivi because you're drawing an extra card every turn. We have insane card draw. You're actually finding most of your pieces. I will say I didn't see some of the cards. Right, like the Happiness Punch never came up, but we also never fought against Zoro, so that didn't matter. Duval also didn't really show up, even though this is a great card for 4 Dawn. Right, because you can play it out, stack your deck for the top 3, and then use leader ability so you know what you're drawing into for the leader ability, and then also your next turn. So, very good. I think the top end's still pretty nice, right? The 6 big bodies. Sometimes anymore, and I feel like I'm just getting too many bricks, but we run so many blockers. You're a 5 life leader, drawing extra cards. You can kind of afford to have a few bricks, right? We still have 2 zero cost events. Marker blocker is just super strong, obviously. Yeah, stars of the show, definitely the Marco, the new law, making just everything else feel even better. And of course, Cavendish being a really great card that we can get value off of it almost immediately on 6 Dawn, right? Just getting a draw. So you're essentially just doing draw 2, trash 1, right? Because Cavendish himself is being replaced by like playing out Cavendish. You're going down 1 card in hand, right? Leader ability gets that back, and then you just draw 2, trash 1 from Cavendish ability. Super, super good, right? I want to stack more Beckman because of the law being able to KO or a trash and AK power on the turn. Right after we play out law, right? Just boom. Super good, super fun. Like I said, a little bit of a non-traditional pick for what you would think with some of the Premium Booster 2 cards, but it just works really well, I think. Again, not saying that Vivi is a great pick, but for a rogue deck, it was pretty fun and used the new cards well. So let me know what you think. I think I would cut down some of the 2-ofs and 1-ofs though, right? Maybe just cut out this for another Duval or Nami blocker, unless you're planning to go against a lot of Zoros, and maybe you bump this up to 2 copies, right? The 1-of Brook is because I don't have 4 copies of the Spot Build Duck Squad, essentially. Also, the Brook is a very good 2k counter as well, being a 4 Dawn rush option for 5k, right? You can play him out, give the rest of Dawn to Brook. And then give him rush, swing for 5. So if you need an extra swing, Brook is a 4-5 rush essentially. So honestly, keeping him as a 1-of, or like splitting one of your 2Ks, maybe. But definitely will keep Otama at 4 copies. Yeah, that is the list. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments. Anything you're playing in Premium Booster 2 that's off meta, or, you know, some rogue decks, let me know. Let me know what you're thinking about Premium Booster so far. I think the meta is I don't know if it changed it too much, but it made some of like the tier 2 decks a little bit stronger, right? Which is always good. Makes it more fun when you're playing at locals. You'll see different things, of course. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.